Part two. So part one was doing all of the research and figuring out, how you could differentiate for students with different levels of digital literacy and reading abilities. And then part two was annotating your notes, which I started to show you how to highlight, and everything that you highlight with Digo will go into your Digo library. So this is something is continuing on from the previous one. So these are my pros and cons of hydroelectricity and of solar. So all of my notes and highlights are all in one place, which will help me greatly when I begin my infographic. So for this one, I'm choosing to use PictoChart, though, again, I'm not sure if it's COPA compliant. It might have to be something done through your email, and I've heard great things about Venngage. And again, back on the presentation site, on the side here where I have analogous tools, it lists other infographic generators. Venngage, there's 10 infographic things on Edudemic, and then Kathy Schrock is a rock star and has lists about infographics as well. So here I'm just scrolling down so I know what I'm doing. All right, so how to demonstrate my knowledge. So exactly, I'm going to create a PictoChart about everything that I've learned. And again, I have here a side note about Creative Commons, making sure that anything that you Google image search for has the usage rights set to reusable. So here's one example that I did with Philadelphia and hydroelectricity, but I'm basically going to remake the same thing. Maybe I'll use solar actually, because I started to highlight. So this is a template that was already there. I wrote hydroelectricity on top. I wrote the questions. And then I basically just copied and pasted and used this copy and pasted direct quotations, which again doesn't show that much analysis. But if I zoom in here on the bottom, you'll see that I did do some analytical persuasive things, which I wrote, it would be worth trying hydroelectricity in Philadelphia as long as we take care for the animals that get caught in a dam. Again, very, very Gone with the Wind. So this is just to give you an example of where we're going. And again, something that I would do in the classroom. I always have a model so students know what the expectations are. Again, this one I did in sort of 10 to 15 minutes because I wanted the model to be representative of what I expected from you as the audience. For students, I would probably have, I tend to have more of an exemplar, not just a model, right? Something that's, this is the best of the best that you're aiming for, so that, especially for high achieving students, they don't stop at, they don't just work on it for 10 minutes, if this is actually a class. So here I am in PictoChart, and then there's lots of infographic templates. Again, they would only use the free ones. You can create your own infographic from scratch. That is one way to not have students get overwhelmed, because the thing with using a template means you have to end up doing a lot of deleting. You'll see this is the one I ultimately ended up using. So maybe I will just start from scratch and then have students thinking about there's still a lot of ways to add symbols and make it really visual. So exactly, I might use shapes and lines. I might start with a text box where I will write, is solar energy for Philadelphia. Again, this is just because that's where ISTE was. I am not obsessed with Philadelphia. I might even leave the questions there, but maybe I want to add another icon. Oh, these are adorable, but maybe, let's see if there's something with like a sun. I would definitely add that. I can search for sun. Ooh, I like this big one. So I might put that in the corner there. And then here, I will add some text. So I will say, and again, some of these things are glitchy and they take some, I'm going to do a title. What can solar power do for you? And here's where then I would go back to my Digo library and see, oh, here's all the things I wrote about solar. It's converted thermal energy. It does not produce air pollutants. And they have minimal environmental impact. All right, so that's a lot. Again, I might directly quote it. For now, I might end up paraphrasing. Sorry, I have a lot of things going on. I'll add some subtitle text. It creates minimal environmental impact and so it does not produce any air or water pollutants. And then I, of course, have to cite it. I go back to my library. Oh, it's from EIA Energy Kids, so I will include that. It's from EIA.gov, I believe it was. That's maybe a little small, so I can always play around with it, right? Make the text a little bit bigger and so on. Right, and then maybe on the bottom, I'll include what can't solar power do for you, and then hopefully ending with an opinion, right? I might end up writing something like Philadelphia should or should not use more solar power because there are blank sunny days in Philadelphia. And right now they are using predominantly coal, and then citation and so on. Again, I'm doing this very, very quickly. But to show you that even, in a few minutes, so long as you've done your research, you can visually represent some information. And then, of course, like I said, you can definitely have fun with it. You'll add some graphics. You can do some shapes and lines. There's photos you can add that you can upload from your computer, but they come with some wonderful stock photos. So maybe I'll be like, ooh, this has a sun on it, so I'm going to include that. And you can turn it into, I think you can do it as part of a background, but whatever. And then now I'll save it. And then that now is your way of assessing knowledge and going back to the beginning where I talked about universal design for learning. This really ties in with, this might take me too long to pull up, this ties in with differentiating for action and expression, right? If a student can research all that and find all that information, they don't necessarily have to write an essay about what they have learned, right? This is, I guess it's here. They don't necessarily have to write a whole essay about what they have learned. It's actually less marking for you. It's more engaging for them. This is something they can put up around their school. This is something they can, I don't know, send to the city of Philadelphia if that's where you live. It makes writing more authentic. It means that if they do display it at schools, other students are more likely to read it. Sorry, I can't find the UDL site. But anyway, you have, oh, I should just look up the site now. It might be under further resources. Oh, here we go. I apologize. So it's on the main page. Takes a second to load. And here you go. Yeah, provide multiple means of action and expression. And to be honest, it also provides multiple means for engagement, right? Students are able to, and if they would rather write an essay, of course, you can always have that choice. Choice is really key for universal design.